guys, what's going on? It's MassiveJoes RAW review, and I'm coming to you from MassiveJoes.com. Awesome raw review for the viewers at home today. One of the most exciting new nootropic supplements on the market today. It is, of course, ANS RAVE in the house. Let's get straight into it, show you guys exactly what's in it, tell you exactly what it's going to do. That nutritional information panel ain't going to get it done. We're about to go balls deep in this here ANS Performance Rave. Luckily, got ourselves a big ass nutritional information panel for the viewers at home. Dilip, go ahead and cut up that panel so the viewers can play along while they're watching at home. Starting from the top, serving size, 1 scoop, 3.5 grams. Got yourself about 60 of them. 1 scoop, 3.5 gram bitches. Here, one of these ANS RAVE bitches. In terms of what each 3.5 gram scoop is made up of, what we're actually going to do here, viewers at home, is I'm not real happy with what ANS have done in terms of the way they've kind of split this. Because to be fair to them, we need to look at the 2 scoop serve. We really do. If I was them, I would have done a bigger scoop, done 1 scoop per serve and done 30 serves. Because we can't be fair to them and look at the 1 scoop. It really is a 2 scoop supplement. So we're going to go 1 scoop, 3.5 grams, 60 of them bitches in one of these bitches. But a serve is actually 2 scoops. So a 2 scoop serve is 7 grams and you get 30 of them 2 scoop, 1 serve bitches in one of these ANS RAVE bitches. That's enough for the maths. Let's go balls deep. Starting from the top, we can do a quick summation because ANS have been kind enough to provide full disclosure on the nutritional ingredients panel, so we know exactly how much of each ingredient is in here. If we quickly add up all of the active ingredients, we quickly discover that there's 12 active ingredients, and each serve or each scoop is made up of 56% active ingredients, which leaves 44% flavors, sweeteners, and colors. So it is definitely, it's towards the higher end of what we like to see in any type of supplement, but in these types of supplements in particular, these energy-based supplements, nootropic-based supplements. That being said, you're still in a 2 scoop serve, you're talking about 7 grams, you're talking 44% flavors, sweeteners, colors. As an absolute number, it's still not that much, so nothing to be too concerned about. Starting from the top, vitamin B6 as pyridoxine hydrochloride, and viewers at home, just keep in mind we are going to look at the right-hand column on this nutritional panel. The right-hand column is, of course, the 2 scoop serve. So we're starting with vitamin B6 in a 10 milligram dose, and this is vitamin B6 as a pyridoxine hydrochloride. For viewers at home who are unaware, vitamin B6, very important B vitamin, acts as a cofactor in the biosynthesis of a bunch of neurotransmitters. The one neurotransmitter that we're going to be most concerned with in this particular formula is dopamine. But just for your personal information, also acts in the biosynthesis of serotonin, epinephrine, norepinephrine, and GABA. The clinical dose of vitamin B6 in the form of pyridoxine hydrochloride is 1.7 milligrams. We have a whopping 10 milligrams in a 2 scoop serve in each and every 2 scoop serve of this ANS Performance Rave. So it is stupidly overdosed. Moving right along, we then get into taurine in a 2,000 milligram dose. Taurine, of course, an aminosulfonic acid, improves muscular endurance, improves cardiac function, and boosts blood flow via vasodilation. The clinical dose of taurine is 500 to 2,000 milligrams. We have 2,000 milligrams, so it is very well dosed in each and every serve of this ANS Performance Rave. Taurine, to be honest with you, viewers at home, not 100% sure why there's taurine in this formula. More of an ingredient that we tend to see in pre-workout supplements or perhaps even intra-workout supplements, not really in nootropics. It is what it is. Moving right along, we then move into acetyl L-carnitine in a 500 milligram dose. Acetyl-L-carnitine, of course, is L-carnitine with an acetyl group attached, which increases the bioavailability of L-carnitine. L-carnitine in its own right is a fat transporter. We refer to it as a fat metabolizer because it actually transports fat from fat cells into the mitochondria of muscle cells where the fat can be used for energy. To be honest, that's not the reason why it's in this ANS RAVE. The reason is because acetyl-L-carnitine, it crosses the blood-brain barrier where it can help with mental focus, which is why we refer to it as a nootropic in the first place, and which is why it is in this ANS RAVE. The efficacious dose for acetyl-L-carnitine, depending on what you're trying to get it to do, is between 500 milligrams and 2,000 milligrams. Towards the lower end of that dose for the crossing of the blood-brain barrier and assisting mental focus, towards the higher end for fat metabolism. No surprises, we are towards the lower end of that dose, bang on 500 milligrams. Moving right along, we then get into acetyl-L-tyrosine, N-acetyl-L-tyrosine, aka NALT, in a 400 milligram dose. This is L-tyrosine, also with an acetyl group attached. Similar to the acetyl-L-carnitine, that acetyl group increases the bioavailability for better absorption of the L-tyrosine into the bloodstream. L-tyrosine also helps improve cognition in the presence of stress and sleep deprivation. So if you don't get a whole lot of sleep or you're under a bunch of stress each and every day, sounds like somebody I know, N-acetyl-L-tyrosine or L-tyrosine is a great amino acid to help you combat that. The clinical dose for N-acetyl-L-tyrosine is 300 milligrams to 500 milligrams. We have 400 milligrams, so it is perfectly dosed. Moving right along, we then get into choline bitartrate, 300 milligram dose. This is choline combined with tartaric acid. The tartaric acid is added to the choline to increase the bioavailability and help get it into the bloodstream. Choline by itself is a nootropic. It also crosses the blood-brain barrier where it acts as a precursor to the neurotransmitter acetylcholine. Acetylcholine, of course, helps with mental focus and also helps boost memory as well. In terms of the clinical dose of choline bitartrate, it's 250 milligrams right up to 3,000 milligrams. We have 300 milligrams, so we are towards the end of that the lower end of that dosing, but we would still go so far as to say it's clinically dosed. Moving right along, we then get into arguably the most unique ingredient in this ANS Performance RAVE. They called it Magic Lion. It is an extract from a mushroom, the scientific name of which is Hericium erinaceus. So Hericium erinaceus extract. It's also known as lion's mane. Most people who follow nootropics will have heard of lion's mane before, which is the non-scientific name, and the non-made-up name is bearded tooth mushroom extract. That's a made-up name. So it's a mushroom extract from the bearded tooth mushroom. This particular extract has been used for centuries in Chinese medicine, guys. Now starting to make its way into Western medicine, primarily as a nootropic. It's a very cool ingredient, this lion's mane extract. The Magic Lion version, real quick, is a 10-to-1 extract ratio. So it's actually equivalent in a 100 milligram dose that we have to 1,000 milligrams of the bearded tooth mushroom extract. Now what it actually does is really quite cool because it's considered to be a nootropic, but most nootropics, viewers, have some sort of effect on neurotransmitters. So they're either, a precursor to a particular neurotransmitter, or they're blocking enzymes that break down neurotransmitters. They're having some sort of effect directly on neurotransmitters. Magic Lion, or lion's mane extract, or whatever you decide to call it, that's a made-up name, doesn't have that effect. It has a completely different effect that also is considered to be nootropic. And that completely different effect, viewers at home, is that it actually improves nerve regeneration via increasing levels of something called NGF, which stands for nerve growth factor, in your brain. And what increasing NGF does is helps improve memory and cognition cumulatively over time. So we're not dealing with a transient effect here. We're not dealing with, if we look at some of the other nootropics like a choline bitartrate, which is a precursor to acetylcholine, that's going to have a transient effect for a short period of time. What we're dealing with here is if you can increase the levels of NGF that are going to build up over time, they're going to have a cumulative effect. So you're dealing with a nootropic that's going to get better the more you use it and for the longer period of time you use it, because the NGF is going to build up and you're going to get the benefits of improving memory and cognition over time. The other really cool thing that NGF does through this build-up of, through the build-up of NGF, this other cool thing that the Magic Lion extract does is it actually prevents mental deterioration or mental decline because it's reversing the process of the breakdown of NGF. It really is quite a unique and quite an exciting extract, quite an exciting new nootropic. To get these effects that we are talking about, you need about 150 right up to 3,000 milligrams in a 1-to-1 extract per day. Remember, we are talking about a 10-to-1 extract here, so it's actually equivalent to 1,000 milligrams. So we are smack bang almost directly in the middle of that studied scientific dosing range. Moving right along, we then get into Huperzia serrata extract that's yielding 1% huperzine A in a 5 milligram dose. This is also known as toothed club moss, is probably how you guys have seen it before or may have heard of it before, or just huperzine A is sometimes listed as well. This is also a nootropic. It also crosses the blood-brain barrier, where it does something kind of cool. It acts as an acetylcholine esterase inhibitor, where acetylcholine esterase is the enzyme that breaks down excess acetylcholine. So you guys already know we've got choline bitartrate in here, which is a precursor to acetylcholine, so allowing our body to synthesize, produce more acetylcholine. And then we've got this huperzine A that's making sure that excess acetylcholine isn't being broken down by acetylcholine esterase. It's the 1-2 punch for acetylcholine to help boost those acetylcholine levels. In terms of the clinical dose, for huperzine A, your clinical dose is anywhere between 50 micrograms to 200 micrograms. We have 5 milligrams, but it only yields 1% huperzine A, so we are actually smack bang on 50 micrograms, so it is towards the lower end of that dosing range, but we would still go so far as to say it's clinically dosed. Moving right along, we then get into the stimulant blend, starting with caffeine anhydrous, 350 milligrams, viewers. A whopping dose of caffeine anhydrous. For viewers at home who are unaware, caffeine anhydrous, of course, a central nervous system stimulant, enhances physical energy, reduces fatigue, boosts psychological performance. The efficacious dose for caffeine anhydrous is anywhere between 200 to 300 milligrams. We have 350. It is therefore overdosed. Moving right along, we then get into L-theanine in a 100 milligram dose. L-theanine, a nootropic amino acid, also crosses the blood-brain barrier. We got a lot of ingredients crossing that blood-brain barrier in this ANS performance rave here, viewers at home. A lot of ingredients. It crosses the blood-brain barrier where it helps transmit nerve impulses in the brain, which is going to help improve mental focus and your ability to pay particular acute attention. Also promotes relaxation without sedation, which is going to help reduce the perception of stress. Really what L-theanine does more than anything, the thing that you're really going to feel is it takes the edge off stimulants. So if you're taking a lot of stimulants in a short period of time, such as 350 milligrams of caffeine anhydrous, you're going to want something in there to not give you the kind of jittery, anxious side effects that having too much caffeine in a short period of time can sometimes give you. That ingredient is L-theanine. The clinical dose of L-theanine, viewers at home, is anywhere from 100 to 200 milligrams for these effects. We have 100 milligrams in a 2-scoop serve of this ANS Performance Rave, so we would go so far as to say it is indeed clinically dosed. Moving right along, We then get into Kigelia africana fruit extract in a 75 milligram dose. Kigelia africana, a naturally occurring source of DMHA. And because it's the natural version, it's 2-amino-5-methylheptane as opposed to 2-amino-6-methylheptane. DMHA, a psychoactive central nervous system stimulant, is going to boost energy, enhance cognitive function, decrease appetite, and also act as a mild bronchodilator. The other cool thing that naturally occurring DMHA does is increases dopamine and noradrenaline, those two neurotransmitters, which is going to help improve mood and your feeling of well-being. The clinical dose for naturally occurring DMHA from Kigelia africana extract is 75 milligrams. We have 75 milligrams, so we would go so far as to say it's perfectly dosed. Moving right along, we then get into another source of caffeine because we need more caffeine. Infinergy dicaffeine malate in a 50 milligram dose. This is caffeine ionically bonded to malic acid and yields about 75% caffeine. So if we add up the 75% of 50 milligrams, so 37.5, and we add that to the already, where were we at? 350 milligrams of caffeine anhydrous. We're now at 387.5 milligrams. 37.5 from the Infinergy, 350 anhydrous, 387.5 total milligrams. Thank goodness we've got a bunch of theanine in here to take the edge off all that caffeine. The benefits that Infinergy has over caffeine anhydrous is that it has a longer lasting stimulatory effect. You don't crash off it either, so you don't get like a post-energy slump or anything like that. And the malic acid also helps improve digestion. The clinical dose for Infinergy, if it's used by itself, is 300 to 400 milligrams. We only have 50 milligrams, but as I mentioned, viewers at home, it really only contributes to the caffeine content, which we have more than enough of just from the caffeine anhydrous. Moving right along, we then get into the final ingredient in this ANS Performance Rave, and that is, of course, arginamine hydrochloride. Once again, another ingredient similar. The first and the last ingredients, the taurine and the arginamine, not 100% sure what they're doing in this supplement, but hey, we'll take it. Arginamine, for viewers at home who are unaware, is a beta-2 adrenergic receptor agonist, which means it's going to relax smooth muscle in your lung in particular, so it acts as a respiratory system relaxant, but then also acts as a heart stimulant, increasing the power of your heartbeat. We see arginamine used a lot in stimulant-based thermogenic fat burners, sometimes in pre-workouts, but it's effective. It's a fat-burning ingredient, viewers at home, which is why I'm a little bit confused as to why it is in this rave. The clinical dose of arginamine for those kind of fat-burning effects is 25 to 50 milligrams. We have 25 milligrams, so it is towards the lower end of the dosing. Once again, not 100% sure what it's in there for, but we'll take it. Got yourself about 44%. Artificial colors, artificial flavors, and sweeteners. And that's what's in it. We made it, viewers. We made it through the 12 ingredients. Some cool ones, some new ones, some unique ones, and some completely redundant ones. But on paper, if you kind of look at it from the perspective of a nootropic supplement, there's a lot of nootropic ingredients in there, and a lot of nootropic ingredients that work quite well together. A few different 1-2 punches. You've got precursors to neurotransmitters. You've got ingredients that stop the breakdown of neurotransmitters. You've got some psychoactive CNS stimulants in there. You've got some non-psychoactive CNS stimulants. You've got ingredients that cross the blood-brain barrier. You've got all sorts of nootropics going on in there, viewers at home, and then that really cool magic line that's going to boost the NGF levels for cumulative effects over time. On paper, it is quite a unique and quite a complete and comprehensive nootropic formula. There's a couple of things that I guess, if you want to get picky, that it is kind of missing. The first would be a direct precursor to dopamine. You do have one in there, but nothing that you don't have L-Dopa in its own right. You don't have mucunapurians, which yields L-Dopa in its own right. So you could definitely put something like that in there. And then just another source of choline. Your only source of choline, that's the precursor to acetylcholine, is the choline butyrate, and it's not overdosed. So you could definitely do with acetylcholine or acetylcholine, and L-alpha GPC, a different source of choline just to boost the choline levels a little bit more, is something else that you could definitely add to this formula. The one thing that I will say about the formula on paper, and I have already mentioned it, very, very high in caffeine. Almost too high on paper. You kind of look at it on paper, you're like, shit, almost 400 milligrams of total caffeine in a 2-scoop serve. That's a lot of caffeine, especially for a nootropic supplement. And you kind of start to ask yourself, if the nootropic part of the supplement is that good, why do they need to put that much caffeine in each and every serve? You should be getting enough positive effects from the nootropics to not need a massive dose of caffeine to kind of give you the effects that everyone knows caffeine is going to give you. Apart from that, on paper, quite a decent supplement. In terms of how it tastes, how it mixes, comes in 4 flavors, comes in blue raspberry, comes in fruit punch, comes in pink lemonade, comes in tub I've got right here, pineapple mango. Got myself a brand spanking new tub of this ANS Performance Rave in the pineapple mango flavor. The one flavor I actually haven't tried. Been doing this a lot in raw reviews recently, viewers at home, busting out the one flavor I haven't tried in raw reviews for you guys, so I can give you our world first taste and mixability test. So, got myself a brand new tub of this ANS Performance Rave in the pineapple mango. I would bro punch this bitch in, but I really it's a small tub. I'm gonna whack some knuckles on the side there, so I'm just gonna peel the lid off for you guys. Now, the one thing that I do have to make unequivocally clear right from the start is that 1 scoop is 3.5 grams. 2 scoops is 7 grams. That's a serve. That's what we've just spoken about. This scoop does not weigh 3.5 grams. We're just gonna overlay some footage right now of us doing the infamous MassiveJoes weight test, scoop weight test. And you guys will see as we're going through this, that 1 scoop is actually closer to about 5 grams. In fact, depending on how you scoop it, a little bit over 5 grams. Definitely nowhere near the 3.5 grams. So if you're looking for that 2 scoop full serve and you go and you get yourself 2 level scoops using the scoop that ANS provide you in this tub of Rave, you're actually gonna be at, probably over 10 grams. So you're gonna be at a shitload more than you should be. So that's one thing that you have to be completely aware of is 3.5 grams is literally about 2/3 of one of these scoops. Not even 3/4, like 2/3 of one of these scoops. So if you're looking for like a 2-scoop serve, it's gonna be like 1 heaped scoop is gonna get you, your 7 grams pretty much smack bang on. So that is one thing that you guys definitely have to be aware of to make sure you're not taking too much or too less, depending on how you choose to take the supplement. You're taking the exact amount that you need to take. Infamous MassiveJoes taste and mixability test about to go down. Got my double wall glass with my spoon. Gonna throw, you know what, let me read the instructions. Let me be fair to the ANS Rave. Mix 1 scoop with 6 ounces of cold water. So I've actually got about 6 ounces there, I reckon. So I'm gonna go 1 scoop. And I will, for the sake of the taste and mixability test, I'm actually gonna do 1 level scoop. So closer to 1.5 scoops based on what they say on paper. Drop this bitch in this bitch. And let it rain, let it rain. Few flicks of the wrist. I'll show you guys how it mixes. And for the very first time, a little bit of a taste test on how this ANS Performance Rave in the pineapple mango flavor tastes, man. All right, that's enough. So as you guys can see, surprisingly, it actually doesn't mix completely. You would expect something like this supplement to mix completely. There's nothing in there that really shouldn't mix, but it does like settle. If I can get some zoom and focus action on this, I don't know if you guys can see that, but like straight towards the bottom is you do have some settling. So what I generally do with it when I'm taking it is I'll throw a scoop in, I'll do what I just did, I'll let it sit there, and then I'll go and I'll take my spoon again and throw it back in and just give it just another couple of whirls. And after that, it does pretty much completely mix. And because of that, I would go so far as to say blender ball is not required for this ANS Performance Rave. Let me, for the very first time, see how this pineapple mango tastes, man. Very juicy, actually. Definitely the most juicy of the flavors. I've tried them all now, thankfully, after that taste test. Definitely a juicy. I actually wasn't expecting that, because all the other flavors are very candy based. The blue raspberry is like a real sweet candy blue raspberry. The fruit punch is quite a sweet fruit punch as well. The pink lemonade is a very candy lemonade. And then the pineapple mango is juice, which is a little strange. I honestly wasn't expecting that at all. That being said, the flavors are all really good. Very easy to drink. No aftertaste, no initial, just nothing unpleasant in there at all. Really nice. And the pineapple mango literally tastes like pineapple mango juice. They've done really, really well with the flavoring. They should have, because they're using 44% non-active ingredients. But they have definitely come through with the goods. If you want a candy-based flavor, the sweetest, in my opinion, is definitely the blue raspberry. If you want a juice-based flavor, definitely go and get yourself some of that pineapple mango. In terms of the effects, it's what everybody wants to know. MassiveJoes, I guess we're kind of considered the nootropic specialists in the supplement industry. Everyone kind of comes to us for nootropic advice, even more than performance supplement advice, because we've tried a bunch of them, and we, of course, have our favorites. The effects of this rave, I'll be honest with you guys, I had to get a bunch of opinions, second and third opinions, from the crew here at MassiveJoes headquarters at MJHQ on what everybody thought of this rave, because I have my own personal opinions, but I don't want to skew raw reviews with my personal opinions. Of course, I tell you guys what they are anyway, but I like to get kind of collective opinions from the whole crew. What we all agreed on is that you get incredible mental focus on this rave. The mental focus is really dialed in, very pronounced, possibly more than any other nootropic supplement we've ever had. And what's quite unique about the mental focus is we actually Boss Josh used the word clarity. And I think that probably describes it better than anything, is this: you have an incredible feeling of clarity and just being able to focus on what it is you're focusing on with no distractions. And it's almost like the numbers of the matrix are falling down and you can see what the matrix is saying. It's a real pronounced feeling of being able to focus on whatever you're focusing on with no distractions and just seeing exactly what you're looking for in whatever it is that you're doing. And I think clarity is the best way to describe it. We all agree that is definitely, for all the nootropic supplements we've tried, definitely the most pronounced with this ANS Performance Rave. What we disagreed on was the dosing to get that effect. For me personally, the 2-scoop serve, the 7 gram serve, 2 scoops, is too much stimulants. It's too much caffeine, it's too much DMHA, it's too much hydrogenamine, it's too much of a stimulant-focused feeling for me. It's the type of feeling that I want when I'm about to go lift that light weight like bags of feathers. It's a pre-workout type feeling for me, and I don't want that from a nootropic. Whereas I was pretty much outvoted because everybody else seemed to think that the 2-scoop serve was perfect. But I tended to disagree. And what I've played around with the dosing personally. I found 1 scoop doesn't really get it done. I found my sweet spot is 1.5 scoops. So about that 5.5 gram dosing for me personally gives me that same effect that I just described to you guys. Gives me that same effect that everybody else seems to get off a 7 gram 2 scoop serve. We all agree that once you get that sweet spot, the energy and the feeling of clarity and mental focus is very clean. It's very long lasting, possibly the most long lasting of all the nootropics we've tried at MassiveJoes, and you don't crash off it. You don't get any type of decrease in mood or post-energy slump or anything like that. Once you find that sweet spot for you, you don't experience a crash or anything like that. The one thing that we also all agreed on a not so positive side was no real effect on mood. So a bunch of other nootropic supplements, if you're looking for a nootropic that's going to give you that elevated mood, that real kind of increased feeling of well-being, it's not going to be RAVE. RAVE is really about just dialing you in, giving you that overwhelming sense of clarity, that overwhelming sense of mental focus, and it does that better than any other nootropic supplement that we've tried. In terms of the side effects, we haven't experienced any apart from myself having too many stimulants. So if you are kind of sensitive to caffeine and other stimulants, perhaps start at the 1 scoop serve and just kind of build your way up from there rather than going to, straight to the 2 scoop serve and going, oh shit, I've taken too many stimulants. I really don't feel great at the moment. Start lower and build your way up. Apart from that, no real side effects that nobody's really noticed. The cool thing while we're talking about side effects is you don't tend to build up a tolerance to it either. So the guys that have been using 2 scoops, 7 grams, have been using it, haven't had to go anymore. Myself, once I found that sweet spot, about 1.5 scoops, about 5.5 grams, I haven't had to increase it from there. So it seems like you don't really build up a tolerance to it either. You can kind of stay on the same dosage and get the same effects repeated day after day, time after time, which is really cool. In terms of stackability, obviously we're talking about a nootropic here. But if you are looking for a nootropic to use as a pre-workout supplement, this is definitely going to get it done for you. And then if you look at stackability, it's going to stack well with a non-stimulant pump supplement if taken pre-workout. It's going to stack well with any non-stimulant ingredients if you want to build like your own pre-workout stack. So you might add beta-alanine to it, creatine to it, nitric oxide boosters, whatever you want. Provided they're non-stimulant based, the ANS Performance RAVE could really become your nootropic stimulant base, and then you can kind of add ingredients to that to build whatever pre-workout supplement you want to take. The one thing that it's not going to stack well with is obviously anything that's got stimulants in it, because it is quite high in stimulants already. Final thing I will say for you guys in terms of price and value for money, in the Australian market, you're looking at $69.95 for the 60 scoop, what we're calling 30 serve tub. So if you're looking at price per scoop, it works out to $1.17 per scoop. If you're like me and you're taking 1.5 scoops per serve, it works out to $1.55. If you're like the rest of the crew here at MassiveJoes and you're taking 2 scoops per serve, it works out to $2.34 per 2 scoop serve. So it does sit very well placed in the Australian market for value for money in terms of the nootropic side of the market. But guys, if you're in the market for a very strong, delicious nootropic supplement that is going to increase mental focus and mental clarity like no other nootropic that we have seen thus far, you got to go out and get yourself a tub of this ANS Performance RAVE. Guys, hit the subscribe button. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, man. Stay up to date with all the latest editions of MassiveJoes RAW review and all the other deliciousness on our YouTube channel. If you like this video, be sure to like this video. Throw down a comment if you got a question. We get back to each and every one of them, and spread the love. Share this video around on the MassiveJoes YouTube channel, and don't forget to turn your post notifications on your mobile, your cell phone, or your desktop PC, so you don't miss a beat when it comes to the MassiveJoes YouTube channel. And guys, that is MassiveJoes RAW review on the all new ANS Performance Rave in the house. And I'm coming to you from MassiveJoes.com.